Welcome into the Birds of the Round Table for another Victory Tuesday podcast. The Eagles walk into Arrowhead Stadium. Maybe they limp out, but they limp out with a victory. 21-17 over the Kansas City Chiefs, improved to 9-1, the best record in the NFL. They have a full game lead on the Detroit Lions, who almost lost to the Chicago Bears last week. 2+ games on everybody else. Everything is in front of this team. We'll talk about the schedule that's upcoming. We're going to get into it all, but we're here mostly to celebrate a Chiefs victory over the Chiefs, however you want to word that, and we'll preview the Eagles' upcoming matchup with the Bills. Joined, as always, by the crew. Dibes up here on the top right. Dibes, how are you doing this evening?
Doing much better than Dallas Cowboys fans, who apparently were very salty and triggered by this Eagles W last night. My entire timeline is filled with salty Cowboys fans chirping at the Eagles. Still, the amount of real estate that's in these Cowboys fans about the Eagles is just nuts. I don't understand it, but here we are.
Yeah. All right. Also joined by Ryan Reese from Philly Sports Alliance. Give him a follow on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. Ryan, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing absolutely fantastic. I had a great time watching that game, although first half was a little bit of a heart attack, but honestly, I don't care anymore how they win. I don't care. Uglier the better at this point. Great teams find great ways to win games, and that's what they're doing.
My favorite part from last night was I'm pretty sure I went through the entire Taylor Swift discography. Is that the word? I don't know. But and I was making every single pun possible about how the Eagles beat the Chiefs last night. That was so much fun.
Yes. Our post-game show, you and I know our boy Quentin, a couple other people were just throwing in the Taylor Swift puns. And I mean, it was getting so deep that I didn't even know any of the songs at this point. It was like 30 puns deep that people were pulling from. So good on you for pulling those rabbits out of that hat.
I was a big time Taylor Swift fan.
What?
Back in the day?
I will be clipping that.
I may or may not be able to play multiple songs on the piano. So just throwing that out there. But I don't know why I volunteered that information. But there you have it. Also joined by David. Give him a follow on on Twitter at PHL Eagle News. Check out his written work at PhillyCoverCorner.com. David, were you a Taylor Swift fan too?
Oh my God.
I was not. In fact, I do have a very good Taylor Swift story, and you're probably going to think this is made up, but it's 100% true. Yeah. I went to see George Strait at concert. Probably, I guess it was like 2010 or something, and Taylor Swift was the opening act on the tour. He had 3 acts, and she was the opening act. And after she performed, we were walking around the stadium, and she came up and asked if I wanted her autograph. She had signed people's autograph, and I actually said no and kept on walking. I did not think she was going to be famous. I did not think she was going to be good. I did take a picture of her standing there, so I have an excellent photograph of her, but I rejected the autograph. And my nieces and family have called me a moron for the past decade due to that, because she's probably the most famous woman on the planet. But yeah, aside from that, I'm doing well. I'm looking forward to the short week, Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to the Bills preview, despite I have not watched very much because I kept finding myself looking at that Jalen Carter interception attempt on the spike play from Patrick Mahomes. That would have been the craziest interception in league history if he had pulled that thing out. But that was just wild, man.
Like, if he pulled that out, you just literally stop the game right there and give him defensive rookie of the year. That was wild. I love the attempt. I honestly don't know, if he tried that 100 times, I don't know if he could come up with it. But still, I love seeing that. Also, I just got to say, the encroachment penalty on him when he's rushing to get on sides before they spike it or whatever. I mean, whatever. That's not the point. The point is, did you guys see Fletcher Cox hurdle between the tackle and the guard? We think of these guys as big, slow linemen, whatever. I'm telling you right now, I could not have made that jump that Fletcher Cox made. So just another reminder that we're not the same.
No.
Yeah.
No. But speaking of that penalty, for it to actually be a penalty, doesn't the offensive unit have to be set as a team before they can officially be encroached upon?
I think he ran into him, and that's what they
did, but like they weren't even remotely set. So like,
yeah,
Oh,
I
you
think
have
they
to
were blaming him
be-
for not being able to set, like because he ran into him.
I mean, I don't know.
He impeded their progress.
No.
But yeah, it was BS any way you look at it. But whatever.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's dive into the game. I'm battling a bit of a cold here, so I'm going to be sipping my tea. If my voice gets crazy, if you see me like inhaling something here, I promise it's just Vicks. I'm just trying to breathe. Okay. So let's not get me canceled live on the podcast here, but let's dive into it. Dibes, this game, we waited 15 days for a game.
Yeah.
And I did the halftime show with you when we were down 17-7. And it was like, man, this is the game we've been waiting for 15 days. It was not a pleasant game. I said after the game on Twitter, this is the most miserable win I've ever watched. What was one of your biggest takeaways from the game as a whole?
I'm not gonna touch on the offense. I think heading into this one, there's so much to talk about with this game. So much. I'll lead off with my number one key to victory for the Eagles, which was the red zone. And I look at this Eagles red zone offense coming into this week that was really starting to improve. They were over the last 3 weeks, they had a red zone offense percentage of 71.4%, which is, I guess, third best in the NFL. And you look at, these last 2 wins for the Eagles, man, not just scoring in the red zone, but stopping teams in the red zone as well. I mean, the Eagles, again, just like against the Cowboys, 3 of 3 in the red zone. You look at that Cowboys win, they stopped the Cowboys how many times in that second half? How many turnovers on downs? And you look at this Chiefs game, that interception by Kevin Byard, you look at that fumble by Travis Kelce, that was really the difference. Like this team, the Eagles, have now won 22 straight games under Nick Sirianni when they're +1 or better in the turnover ratio. And that's been a huge issue for the Eagles this year, takeaways and red zone offense. And I feel like they're really starting to get back to being as elite as they were in those areas in 2022. So for me, there's so much to talk about with this defense because I really, truly thought that this was like Sean Desai's audition, his real test against Patrick Mahomes. And he passed with flying colors in many different respects. And before we get to the Bills game, I do want to touch on the Eagles' second half defensively, which was so great.
Yeah. You mentioned the red zone percentage over the last 4 weeks, or over the last 4 games, I should say, because you have the bye week in there. The Eagles have scored a touchdown on 76.5% of their red zone trips. The leader for the season is the Dolphins at 73.5%. Second place is the Chargers at 66%. So like the Eagles have been on a heater in the red zone. And even last night, difficult as the game was to watch, as poorly as the offense was functioning, 3 of 3 in the red zone, like you said. And I think that's a huge testament to the resiliency of this team. And for me, that's one of the things I felt in the second half is like it wasn't clicking, but the Chiefs didn't put the final nail in the coffin. And I just kept feeling like unless you put the Eagles away, there's always that chance. Like this is a team you have to put away because they're going to come back, and they did. And so you never feel out of it, no matter how a game's going. You don't feel out of it with this team.
Isn't that amazing? Like the fact that we have Jalen Hurts didn't have his best game, but like if there's anything we know about Jalen Hurts, especially these last 2 years, the resiliency of that MFer, man, you cannot have this Eagles team within striking distance or he will bury you. And we've seen that again and again, man. And we saw that with that 41-yard touchdown pass to Devontae, which was a huge swing in this game. So give Jalen Hurts a chance. I mean, you're in bad shape.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts has now won 7 straight games when trailing by double digits.
Yeah.
No other quarterback in the NFL has done that more than 4 consecutive times. So maybe that should just be the key for the Eagles. I'm going to start putting that in my keys to victory. Get down by 10 points. No. All right, Ryan, I'll throw it to you here. Give me one of your takeaways from this game.
Yeah, it's the defense. This team wasn't looking great, and they had a game plan, and it obviously was to cover Travis Kelce with as many people as humanly possible, and it worked. I mean, he was, outside of a couple catches here and there, he did nothing, and obviously the forced fumble was huge. But yeah, I mean, they were double, triple teaming him most of the time. And I said it, pregame, I said, don't have Kelce beat you. Let one of those other guys beat you. And listen, they showed exactly who they were. They're not a very good bunch of wide receivers. And the Eagles knew that. And they stuck to their game plan and let up 17 points, but then shut them out the rest of the way. And Mahomes couldn't do anything. The defense was smothering all over Travis Kelce. And again, Desai had a game plan and he stuck to it. He adjusted well at half. And listen, hats off to him. Hats off to that defense, because after the last couple of weeks, we've had a lot to complain about. I don't have much to complain about for that defense, that's for sure.
Yeah, and even 10 of those 17 points came on drives that started across midfield, the touchdown and the field goal at the end of the half. So I thought the defense did a great job. In the second half, they allowed only 22 yards per possession. They forced a turnover. They shut out the Chiefs.
And the Dolphins.
Yeah.
I love the Dolphins in the second half.
And we talked about how you handle Travis Kelce, and they did a lot of different stuff. Like they played a lot of zone where they would get Kevin Byard attached to him early in routes. They had Byard on him a lot, like getting physical off the line of scrimmage. Byard was around him all night long, and Kelce ends with 7 receptions on 9 targets for 44 yards and a touchdown. So really good job on Kelce. You can do that against a team that only has one option. We're going to see how the Eagles handle a team with 2 options now in Stephon Diggs and Dalton Kincaid. Mm-hmm. We're building to a Week 13 matchup here, as Anthony mentions, where there's weapons all over the field. And so hopefully the defense can sustain that play moving forward. So David, give me your takeaway. What was your big takeaway here from this game?
I think part of it has to be the new wrinkles that Brian Johnson added to the offensive game plan during the bye week. And I know he got killed all night long for the play calling, and some of them were questionable, back-to-back bubble screens and all these things. But they did implement the 10 personnel for the first time this entire season, where they had 4 wide receivers, no tight ends, which kind of tells me that the coaching staff hates the tight ends, our backups, as much as Ryan does. But they're just not going to get a chance. There's not going to be an Alberto breakout game. These are just not going to happen. But Hurts was very successful running the 10 personnel. He was 6 of 7, 85 yards, including that 41-yarder to Devontae Smith for a touchdown. So they may have found a little something there that they haven't implemented the entire season. So I'll be excited to see that. And the second point was, like y'all touched on, in the second half. I mean, the run defense just got torched in the first half. I think they gave up 136 yards in the first half and only 32 in the second half. They gave up 5 sacks, the O-line, in the first half, 0 in the second half. The adjustments are just crazy, and it just goes to show how everything starts and begins in those trenches. And I know Shane's about to share a whole bunch of DVOA and all these other stats, and they're all great stats, but they mean nothing if the guys in the trenches aren't doing their jobs, because every single week, everything comes down to that. When the pressure is coming to Jalen, he can't do anything about it. It's a bad week. It's a long game. And when they're getting pressure on the opposition, it's a great game. And everything always starts and begins there. But I am going to be interested to see how they implement that 10 personnel going forward.
Yeah, man, I'm just not going to share stats now. David said they don't even matter. David said they don't even matter.
No, they didn't matter.
And I'm everywhere. There's so many things I want to say about this game, but I'll start with saying this wasn't just about turnover luck. I mean,
No.
I came on this podcast after the Jets game, and I didn't say it was lucky that they got a DeAndre Swift fumble. I talked about it was a great play to punch that ball out. There's some luck in turnovers for sure, but like Bradley Roby made a great play on Travis Kelce, punched that ball out. But it wasn't just about that. The Chiefs offense had a success rate of 36% in this game. It wasn't about one or two plays. For reference, in the Super Bowl, they had a 62% success rate. And yeah, there were drops, but even if you put those 4 drops, if you said those were catches for successful plays, it's still only 41%. Like, the defense played a really good game. And it was frustrating watching Patrick Mahomes just evade pressure. But make no mistake, he was evading pressure. As much holding as was going on the offense on both sides, more so on the Chiefs side. Patrick Mahomes was pressured on 32 of 50 dropbacks in this game. He only took 1 sack and the 1 intentional grounding, of course. There we go. Quentin, also a Swift fan. Love it. Love to see it.
This explains Quentin quite a bit.
We're gonna call Shane a T shift. T shift.
But yeah, I mean, I thought that you just can't say enough good things about how well the defense played.
Yeah.
And then on the offense, to this point, Joe says on Facebook, would feel better if the Eagles put teams away. That's my concern.
Sure.
I am not concerned about the offense. It's been consistently good this season. 1, 2 bad games offensively. You have a bad game against the Jets, you lose. You have a bad game here and you win. 8 of 10 games have been good offensively, but there is a pattern of them being unable to salt games away at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, you give the Eagles the ball back with 8 minutes in a lead, the game's over. And that just hasn't happened. I mean, here they were up, what was it? 4 with 5.5 minutes left. The ball was on the 44. Even if you don't run the whole game out, get 1 first down and Jake Elliott can kick a field goal to make it a touchdown game, and you don't. Against Dallas, it was up 5 with 1:15 left, and they go 3 and out. Against the Jets, up 2 with 4.5 minutes left, they throw a pick. 3 of the last 5 games, there's been major issues closing the game out. That is a pattern. That is something I'm concerned about, but I'm not concerned about the offense just day in and day out. They're going to be fine there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I want to bring something up that I haven't said all season. And I think they do deserve a shout out, and that's the Eagles special teams. Maybe the best performance in all layers by this Eagles special teams unit, man. You had Josh Jobe tackling Kadarius Toney for no gain with 3 minutes left. That was a huge play. We all remember the Toney return in the Super Bowl. That was huge, man. You had Braden Mann. The dude had 47.7 yards per punt on 7 punts last night. In a game where that game was just straight up all about field position, and he was amazing. And then you had Britton Covey, who had 3 returns for 17.7 average. Again, where field position was vital. So for me, I don't think I've ever given a shout out to special teams beyond our excuse me, our other former MVP on this team, but with all those field goals. But quick shout out to the Eagles special teams.
Yeah, I may or may not, after Britton Covey had like that 30-yard punt return, I may or may not have said that was a great return by Britton Covey to set up. I said that it it was a great return by Britton Covey to set up the Eagles punter to pin the Chiefs deep in 4 plays. I had no confidence at that point in the offense. But one other thing, the final thing I want to point out offensively here is the Eagles were so bad on 3rd down. The Dives has a big reaction there.
Yep.
The Eagles were so bad on 3rd down. They were so bad on 1st and 2nd down. It's so easy. It's so much harder to win 3rd downs when you're losing 1st and 2nd down. Like, Their average was like over 8 yards to go on third down. But the stat that was wild to me, we all know they didn't pick up a third down until the third quarter. But do you know when the first time Jalen Hurts threw a pass on third down was?
Third quarter?
6.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
Oh, wow.
He connected with Devontae Smith on the drive to take the lead. They converted that first down. The Eagles had called a pass on four previous third downs, and he took 3 sacks and then had a 5-yard scramble on a 3rd and 10 that didn't convert. So just the pass rush was teeing off on the Eagles on those and the Eagles know that. I mean, that's what the Eagles play for, right? Get you in 3rd and long, set the pass rushers loose. Spags was in his bag last night, and they constantly had the Eagles operating behind the sticks. That's one of the biggest reasons the offense struggled so much. You're muted, Dimes. Go ahead, David.
We move on,
My bad.
can I say something about Howie Roseman? I think everybody should be giving him his flowers. Once again, he just makes the moves that make a huge difference. He makes 2 in-season additions. He gets Kevin Byard, who picks off Mahomes in the end zone, and then he gets Roby, who punches the ball out. Both of his in-season pickups are the 2 turnovers. I mean, it is unbelievable what that guy is doing. It's like every move he makes is just 100% working. I don't know that I've ever seen any GM, not just him, any GM with this type of success like he's had over the past couple of years. It's been unreal.
Yeah.
And quick shout out to that Kansas City defense, man. They're way better than I thought they were.
Mm-hmm.
They were flying around, man. That defense is strong. They complement each other in all 3 levels. They gave the Eagles a lot of problems. I think I underestimated them quite a bit.
Yeah. All right. Anybody else have any final thoughts on this game before we turn the page?
I did want to say thank God Taylor Swift wasn't at this game because it would have been unbearable to watch on TV.
There would have been a lot of bad blood. Right?
No. Okay, let's go. Now, let's go to the Bills.
Ryan wants to shake it off. We understand.
I'm just going to leave.
Okay, well, let's turn the page to the Bills before Ryan leaves here. I was going to try to think of a clever pun to work in there, and it just didn't work. So let's talk Bills versus Eagles, this upcoming matchup. David, I'll throw it to you first. What's your top matchup to watch for the Eagles-Bills game?
All right, I think I picked Hurts versus the Bills defensive backs. And I picked that matchup for a couple of reasons. For one, there's a couple former Eagles that are in that defensive backfield. I think it's Jordan Poyer and Rasul Douglas that they will both know very well. They also have Linval Joseph over there too, I think, on their defensive line. I think they just picked him up in season as well. So that's what I picked up. I think they're second in the league in pass rush win rate. Is that correct? The Bills front line. And so the offensive line is going to have its work cut out for it again. I mean, they're going to have to do everything they did in the second half, but they're going to have to do it from the start of the game. And I'm going to be looking for the type of adjustments that they're going to make before the games even start, because in this past Chiefs game, not to bring it up again, but they were getting hammered by McDuffie on these slot blitzes and on the outside. And that's something this guy does. This is something that they should have known that was coming. And they seemingly weren't that prepared for it. And they had trouble. And towards the end of the game, and I think it was on the Jalen Hurts touchdown run, McDuffie was blitzing from the slot on that particular play. And he finally did recognize it. And he, ran in for the touchdown. So they never really adjusted to that very much. So I'm curious of what kind of adjustments they're going to have, because if they don't, it's going to be a long day with them, because they definitely have a very good pass rush, and it has been a weak spot on the Eagles offense all season long. And he just has not adjusted that well for it. And I know Shane I haven't had a chance to look it up, and I'm sure you have a lot of the stats about Jalen under pressure in this, and it just isn't good. And this is starting to have the feel of one of those games where he doesn't throw for 200 yards again, because all of the games that's happened has been for those same reasons. And not being able to do that, I mean, I think he's had 3 games under 200. One game, the Cowboys, was like 207. So basically 40% of his games this year, he's only thrown for about 200 yards or less. And that's a really bad percentage in a passing league. And a lot of it's because he's always under duress. So I think that's probably the most important matchup of the week.
So what you're saying, if I can paraphrase here, is that Jalen Hurts needs to be fearless.
Yes. Yes. You got one in, Shane. You did it.
All right. Yes. Got it. All right, Ryan. You are up here. Lay it on me. What's your Eagles versus Bills matchup to watch?
Only I knew more Taylor Swift songs, I would create my own one just to play along, but I don't. So I guess that'll just have to be a blank space. Oh, I did. Oh, wow. Snap. Look at me. Anyway, I'm going to go with the Eagles run game versus the Bills front four. They rank 21st in yards given up per game at 110. The Eagles run game, again, we saw the beginning of it coming back. We've had it for the last 4 games because of Juergens, because of Hurts. We all talked about it pregame throughout the whole week. And we saw Swift. He was absolutely great. And you get another week and you continue that and absolutely hammer this defensive line, who is just not that great at stopping the run. They're more of a pass rush. So hit them exactly where you need to hit them. Let Swift run wild and continue this, Swift trend, if you will. So that's the matchup I'm going to be watching out for.
When you hand the ball to DeAndre Swift, sparks fly.
He ran really hard against the Chiefs. We didn't touch on him, but like he was making cuts. He definitely, we saw a motor from him we haven't seen in a while, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and he was excited.
He ended up having a better game than I think people think he did. Like the numbers weren't there, the volume wasn't there, but you look at what he was able to do versus what anybody else was able to do on the ground for the Eagles, and it's easy to anchor to what the Chiefs rushing attack was doing, which was gashing everything. And I mean, the Eagles weren't doing that, but I thought Swift played a pretty solid game.
Yeah, me too.
So, all right, Dives, you were up. What's your matchup to watch?
I'm going with the hot hand, Sean Desai, and his matchup with a new offensive coordinator, interim coordinator, in Joe Brady for the Buffalo Bills. This is a Bills offense that was somewhat stagnant, somewhat stale, somewhat predictable. And Joe Brady has come in and kind of injected some life, some energy, some motion, some spark here. You look at the Bills against the Jets last week. They had 18 rushes in the first half, and they finished with 38 rushing attempts. That's the most they've had since 2022. So that's the matchup I'm looking for. This is an offense that finished 6 of their first 8 drives with points. We saw the Bills kind of utilize a lot more 12 personnel in their offense, which is something they really weren't doing in previous weeks. In fact, during the previous 3 weeks, the Bills ran not one single snap of 12 personnel. That changed against the Jets, where they averaged 7 yards per play, which was a full 1.6 yards per play more than their other 64 snaps against the Jets. So again, more motion in their offense. Dalton Kincaid, that's going to be what we're looking at. I want to see continued growth from this Eagles defense. And if they start to get takeaways, and if they start to kind of, put the nail in the coffin defensively in the red zone, I mean, it's over. I mean, you can just close up shop for the rest of the NFC, because that's the thing. If the Eagles start to get defensive takeaways like they did in 2022, I mean, the sky's the limit for this team.
Yeah, for me, it's this Bills defense and how they're going to try to defend the Eagles offense. The Bills had a really good defense at the start of the year. If you look at DVOA, the first 4 weeks of the season, they had the 3rd best DVOA in the NFL defensively. And they had a Dolphins game in there. They beat up on the Dolphins, but from weeks 5 through 10, they ranked dead last. And a lot of that fall off is injuries. Tre'Davious White on IR, tore his Achilles. Kaiir Elam is on IR. That's 2 of their top 4 corners. Matt Milano, who's a really good linebacker for them, is on IR. They have other guys that are banged up, particularly for this game. Daquan Jones is on IR. Dawson Knox IR. Dane Jackson is questionable to play. Micah Hyde is questionable to play this week. They are really beat up in the secondary. And so this is a game like the way Josh Allen is. I mean, Josh Allen is always fighting that urge to try to score 14 points in one play. Like, it's like if we can just like hit an 80-yard touchdown pass that threads through the eye of a needle, maybe they'll give me bonus points. And so if you can jump out early to a lead, frustrate Josh Allen, make him feel like he can't be patient. Like surgical Josh Allen is the best Josh Allen, but he has to harness that, and that's hard for him sometimes. And so if the Eagles can jump out on top of this defense that is reeling a bit with injuries. Now, they had a great week last week. They played Zach Wilson. That doesn't count. Like, they haven't had a good week defensively after those injuries against a notable team yet. And so the Eagles, this would be a great time for the Eagles to show up, to hit the ground running, exercise those demons from Monday night, feel good about your offense, and put the shoe on the other foot for Josh Allen and have him fighting against that urge to play hero ball. So this is a game where the Eagles really want to get in that positive game script early, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right. Does anybody else have a matchup they want to shout out before we move on to player of the game predictions? Everybody good?
Not right now.
All right, Ryan, I'm going to throw it to you first. Give me your player of the game prediction, your score prediction, all that stuff.
I would like to potentially go over. I know we missed our chance, but to go over last week's predictions because I'm pretty sure that I won this, right?
I got it. Hold on. Ryan, you had DeAndre Swift. David, you had Jalen Hurts. Shane, you had Devontae Smith. Nice. And then I had AJ Brown.
Ooh, boy.
I mean, I vote Devontae Smith.
I'm sure you do.
99 yards. That catch he made to get down to the goal line was incredible. That should have been a touchdown. Hurts underthrew it. So,
sure. Yeah. Or Swift, who went over 100 total yards, unlike Smith.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to stand with my vote for Smith, but if Smith is out, then I'll vote for Jalen Hurts. He had 2 touchdowns.
Listen,
anybody but Ryan.
Pull this the next comment by Q up. That's all that needs to be said. Q agrees.
He's talking about Taylor Swift.
No, he's not.
Definitely Swift.
All right. DeAndre Swift.
You can have second place points, okay?
Yeah. Okay. So who is your player? Are you running it back with Swift here?
I'm absolutely running it back with Swift because I truly believe that this Eagles run game needs to come back, and they just only showed a little bit of what they can do, with a full healthy Cam Jurgens who's shaking a little rust off. I almost just did a Swift pun there. Again, Hurts another week, feeling a little bit better with the knee. All lead and the defense of front with Buffalo, it all leads to another big game by the real Swift, DeAndre.
All right, so DeAndre Swift for Ryan. Dibes, I'll throw it to you. Oh, wait. Score prediction. Give me your prediction.
I'm going to go with 27-21 Eagles.
All right, 27-21 Eagles. We're pretty much at a place where you should just never pick the Eagles to win by more than a score.
Yeah.
At this point. So, okay, Dibes, you're up. What do you have for us?
God. Where do I go from here? My player of the game, I'm going to go Hassan Reddick. Give me Hassan Reddick in this one. I think he makes. You don't like that pick?
No, I was
It's a
doing
celebration.
I was the celebration.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Give me Hassan Reddick. He had 9 pressures against the Chiefs, 2 hits and a sack. That was arguably one of my favorite plays of the game when he just destroyed Patrick Mahomes. I think it was like the second play.
Second play.
That was awesome. That was fantastic. I was screaming. Give me Hassan Reddick. I do think the Eagles pull this one out. Give me Eagles win. I do expect the Eagles to bounce back offensively in this one. Give me Eagles 30-27.
All right, 30-27. All right, David, you are up. Give me your player of the game prediction and your score.
Devontae Smith for player of the game. And the score, I think, is 33-22 Eagles.
Oh,
I think they bounce back a little bit as well. And maybe we'll have an easier victory. Can you post my picture I posted in Discord before we end the show?
Yes, I'll pull it up. They got they get the Kelly Green bump, right?
Yes, definitely.
Did you say 32-27? Is that what you said?
No.
33-22. No, I don't expect it to be that close in the fourth quarter this week. I need a break, so I'm just putting it out there in the universe because I can't take another one of those. I thought I was good after the 2-week layoff for the Dallas game, but they got me again right away.
There's David's picture, photo crew.
There's my famous Taylor Swift picture. She must have been like, what, 18, 19 or something then or something?
Looks 12, by the way.
After he rejected her autograph.
Yeah, no, I did not want your autograph.
I wasn't the only one who did that. Nobody, half of us didn't even know who the hell she was. It wasn't just me that night.
Well, at least you would have gotten the autograph and then lost it like a normal person.
Yeah. Yeah. Ronnie Millsap was about to come on, if y'all know who he was, and I'd never seen him, so I was, trying to brush her away. I was in a hurry, man. I was in a hurry.
Isn't that a basketball player?
Yeah. Meta World Peace.
What's up, Patrick? Chiming in here. Got another comment coming in on YouTube. Go Birds.
Money.
Always love the Go Birds. All right. That puts me up. I'm going to go Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts going to have the bounce back game coming off of a rougher game, albeit still scoring 2 touchdowns. Jalen Hurts is going to demolish this Bills secondary that's so shorthanded. So I'm looking for a big game from Hurts. I will say the Eagles win 31-24 in the Kelly Greens. The Kelly Greens stay undefeated.
Right. Another Kelly Green game. Cannot wait.
Forgot about the Kelly Greens.
I almost broke my never pick more than a 1-score game because of Kelly Green to give him the Kelly Green bump, but I'll stick with 30 whatever I said. 31-24.
Whatever I said.
Bills 10, Eagles 45. Woo!
Let's go.
That I'm pretty sure that would like double the Eagles' point differential this season.
Might triple it.
All right. Well, there you guys have it. Our top matchups to watch, our scorer and player of the game predictions. Does anybody have anything else? Any other final thoughts on this game before we get out of here?
Stay healthy.
Yes.
Just keep chugging along. Keep staying healthy. That's everything. I want to continue to see progress in the red zone from this Eagles offense. I want to see more progress from this Eagles defense getting takeaways. But at the end of the day, the stars are starting to align here, and they just need to stay freaking healthy.
Yep.
Yeah. We said last week, if the Eagles went 3-2 in this next 5 games, they get the 1 seed. I mean, at that point, you're 14-3. Now, the Lions could throw a kink into that. We'll see. Eagles fans need to be pulling for a Lions loss to give you a little breathing room.
Damn Chicago Bears.
But you got through 1. You got 4 games left. You need to at least split, but let's not be happy with that. Let's go for 3 or 4 of these. So, all right. let's throw it around the table here, and then we'll get out of here. David, I'll throw it to you first. You got any pieces coming out? Anything you want to plug right now? The floor is yours.
I released one today, basically thanking Andy Reid for ignoring the wide receiver position in Kansas City, like he largely did during his tenure in Philly. But but aside from that, no. And I agree with what Dive said. Stay healthy, contain Stephon Diggs. I don't even think we mentioned James Cook, who's kind of like the Bills' DeAndre Swift kind of guy. Contain him too, but go Birds. This is about the most disjointed review we've had all season because the turnaround's like 18 hours later, but we're giving it a go.
Yeah, it's rough having a Monday night game, and then for me, my kids are out of school this whole week for Thanksgiving, so it makes working really hard. But that's all right. I'm also sleep deprived. I didn't get to bed till like 1 o'clock last night. So
Yeah, same.
All right, Dibes. What about you? What do you got going on? Plug your stuff. The floor is yours.
All right, don't pump up David too much. Easy, Quentin. My plug. We're doing BGN radio show right after this, right? So talking week 13, I think, in college football.
Yeah, it really bothers me that the weeks aren't the same.
They need to balance that out and find a way because it's so hard to keep on top of that. So previewing Michigan versus Ohio State, that'll be really fun. We'll be doing a Sixers post game in about an hour or two as they get ready for the third quarter here. Tomorrow I'll be hopping on the Kelly Green Hour talking Eagles versus Chiefs, and then me and Ryan at noon tomorrow as well, breaking down our top 10 edge rushers in the 2024 NFL Draft. So that is the appetizer for what's to come with the highlight reels and stuff for our NFL Draft coverage. So tons and tons and tons of stuff.
All right, Ryan, what about you? Floor's yours. Plug your stuff, man.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure if I go last, everybody will have already mentioned every show that I'm on. So, just doing my thing. Please make sure you give me a follow here on Twitter at Philly Sports PSA. But make sure you're following all of these guys as well. Absolute great content. So stick to Edge of Philly Sports. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube, the Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, whatever, TikTok, whatever you kids are into these days. Give it a like, give it a follow, and share it. It honestly does mean the world to all of us. It's a simple thing, takes you 3 seconds, but it does mean a lot. So thank you everybody for supporting. Thank you everybody for commenting. I love everybody in the chat except for I Love Weed, who is a Cowboys fan. No offense, but it's been a little while, so it's good to see you back, buddy. But just go Birds, and let's get another victory.
All right. You guys make sure you are following all of these guys and all the stuff that they put out. You can also follow me. I'm on Twitter at ShaneHalfNFL, on YouTube as well. My schedule will be off this week. I'm going to try to get a pass game review, all 22 video out. But I really have very limited time. So if you don't see it like tomorrow morning, you're not going to get it because I'm traveling Thursday and Friday for Thanksgiving. So I was hoping all 22 was going to come out like today, and it didn't. So I didn't get to work on that at all. So I'm going to try to get that done tomorrow morning, and we'll see. But other than that, keep it tuned to Edge of Philly Sports. Keep it tuned to Philly Sports Alliance. We'll be getting you guys ready all week for the Eagles-Bills game. Pre-game, halftime, post-game shows, the works. You guys know the drill by this point in the season, so make sure you're following us everywhere. Likes, comments on this show really helps get it out to more people, which we certainly always appreciate. So we will catch you guys next Tuesday night on what will undoubtedly be another Eagles victory podcast. We'll see you guys then. Go Birds.